Hey guys, today let's talk about the top 5 beginner home recording mistakes. Welcome to the channel guys. If you're new to home recording or confused about what gear to purchase for your next setup, sit back, relax and check out the video. Mistake number 1. Gear acquisition syndrome. Whilst not an actual medical condition, it is a trap many of us fall into. We've all been there. You don't need lots of gear to get started, and actually it's better to start off small, learn what you have really well, and work your way up from there. For myself, both as a recording and mixing engineer, there were times when I've actually slowed myself down, thinking the fix to my problem was buying a bunch of new gear, when in reality, all I really needed to do was learn what I had better. You'll find when you do this that you'll be better equipped to use better gear when you understand the fundamentals first. Buying the most expensive grand piano I can find won't magically make me a concert pianist. I actually had a recent gas experience with buying the camera that I'm filming on now. Starting this channel, I dusted off my old Canon 600D, which I used to shoot a lot of music videos with. I felt like it was outdated in terms of video quality, and I don't regret buying this new camera as it's definitely an improvement, but I was looking over some of my old music videos the other day that I shot with my Canon and a Panasonic camera, and I managed to get some super sharp, great looking video footage with those cameras that still held up really well. I'd learned to make the most of what I had, but starting videos again and not immediately getting great results, I got caught up in the idea that I didn't have the right lighting, the right camera, the right video mic, and so on. I guess I need to take my own advice here and make the most of what I have. Mistake number 2. Not buying the right gear. Now, this one kind of links into the first mistake with gas, and what I mean by not buying the right gear is buying more than you need. Whilst it's good to give yourself some room to grow with what you buy to save you upgrading constantly, are you ever actually going to use those extra 8 channels of ADAT preamps you bought if you never actually multi-track beyond 2 mics at one time? Or if you make electronic music in the box, is it worth you having an £1,000 external mic preamp and a £1,000 microphone for the occasional time you record a singer for your tracks? You can get great results with your audio interface preamps, the built-in ones, and a sub 500 or even sub 200 condenser microphone these days. Try and consider when starting out what your goals are with your music and focus your investments around those goals. You can always book out a studio for a day if you ever need to record something beyond your norm, and you'll probably get better results as you'll be working with somebody who has invested the time to learn and record on a daily basis what you've only needed to record once in a blue moon. That brings me to number 3, choosing how you invest your time. While some people are very talented and great at producing, recording, mixing, all in multiple genres of multiple instrumentation, they're good at every facet of making music. Is that really you? Or are you better just focusing on learning to record the type of music you do well and hand off those other jobs to other people? Like the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none. And again, linking in here to the investment of time, how long is it worth spending on mulling over which gear to buy? You'll never get anywhere if you don't just start creating. If you are making your first purchases, a budget setup I would recommend to people is get a 2-channel audio interface, either Focusrite or Behringer interface. The preamps and converters are very clean sounding and of good quality. even in budget interfaces these days. Get one of those, get an inexpensive condenser mic like the Aston Origin, or even cheaper, the Audio-Technica AT2020. Mic stand and a pop shield and some cables later, and you've got yourself a recording setup. Obviously, we're missing some bits here like monitors, and you can't go wrong with a pair of Yamaha HS7s or KRK Rockets for a budget option. And then, of course, you'll need headphones and recording software. Oh, and the computer, but most of us already own that one. You're probably watching this video on that right now. In terms of recording software, there's loads of free options now, like Reaper, which is really good, and Pro Tools has a free version, or GarageBand if you're on Mac, and they're all great. They're all professional level, and they will all do what you need them to do, both in terms of recording and mixing, and even mastering if you want to get into that. There's no real need these days when you're starting out to invest in recording software straight off the bat. Focus on, the actual hardware items you need, and worry about the software later, because there's loads of great free options. So if you're on a budget, you don't need to worry about accounting that into your spend. And you'll probably need a pair of headphones, and if it's just for tracking, anything basic will do the job just fine, as long as they're sort of well isolated over the ear headphones. Sennheiser, AKG and Bayer Dynamic are good brands. Also, Monoprice headphones are, believe it or not, amazing as a super cheap budget option. They usually sell online for like around £10-15. You can get them direct off Monoprice's website with free shipping. I've got a whole bunch of them, and they've got these replaceable cables as well. So yeah, you can plug them in and out. Really cool. And they're built well as well, but they're not the kind of price if you're recording other people where you're going to worry about getting them broken. So next mistake, acoustic foam panels, especially those eBay cheap ones, just no. Honestly, I've been through this when I was starting out. They're a pain to put up, they ruin your walls and are hard to take down, and worst of all, generally just make your room acoustics worse. Even really dense foam panels are only really effective in absorbing frequencies down to around 400 hertz and don't absorb evenly across the spectrum either. Honestly, I wouldn't even worry about acoustic treatment when you're first starting out, unless the room you are recording in sounds really, really bad to the point of it stopping you being productive. When you are ready for acoustic treatment, you can build your own rock wall panels for pretty cheap, and you can look on YouTube for loads of awesome tutorials. There's tons of them out there on how to make them, and they're often cheaper than the branded foam panels like Auralex, and they hang on the wall just like a picture frame, so they're super easy to take up and put down and minimal damage to the walls. So loads better than foam for renters if you're renting your place. If you don't want to make your own, there are also companies that make them. Mafia panels are a great cheap option, and GIK Acoustics on the higher end are also very, very good, and their customer service is great. I can personally vouch for both. Rockwall panels are generally effective down to around 120 Hz for standard broadband absorbers, which if you're not doing mixing and just recording vocals and stuff that isn't low-end heavy, then you'll probably be fine with just some broadband absorbers on your walls just to deal with some of the reflections and flutter echo in your room. Otherwise, you might want to also look into bass trapping, but that's a more complex subject and more bespoke to the room. You can't go too far wrong with just hanging up some broadband absorber panels, but beyond that, you really need to work out the acoustic issues in your room, and that involves some room analysing and some math. Anyway, I hope this has been useful for you guys. If you'd like more tips and tutorials on all things recording, mixing and mastering, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications bell as well, and give the video a thumbs up to let me know you enjoyed it. Alright, I appreciate you tuning in to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And you can't go wrong with a pair of Yamaha HS7s or KA.